Hi, this channel is called Wolf Dog Moon, and this is Sean. And today we're going to be reviewing the role-playing game Numenera by Monty Cook. If you like this kind of content, smash that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more excellent content like this, and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on our next video. Comment down below. Share your thoughts about this pretty cool and interesting and unique role-playing game. Let's get into this. Okay, Numenera is a pretty cool role-playing game by Monty Cook and Monty Cook Games. And what's fascinating about this role-playing game is that it takes a unique approach to role-playing games and the formula of role-playing games and the different mechanics they use. And this one tries to go in its own unique direction, and it also approaches role-playing from the standpoint of it being cooperative storytelling. So this tries to emphasize the storytelling aspect of you as a player and the game master. So this one blends the players' choices and what they experience and how they're presented by the game master, and it blends them together so that the whole group is going on this journey and telling a story together. So I'm gonna see, first of all, so this is put out by Monty Cook Games, and if you're familiar with Monty Cook, he was responsible back during the second edition of Dungeons and Dragons for the Planescape setting. So the Planescape setting was this kind of had this kind of nightmarish / dreamlike quality to it, where it was meant primarily for high level characters, and so that they were facing more like existential dread and suspense and different supernatural forces that went beyond them just doing hack and slash. So Numenera continues that philosophy of trying to, although this is not meant for necessarily just high level characters, but this setting tries to blend a dreamlike quality in terms of the setting and the interactions that you have, and also the different character classes and their abilities. So I'm going to show you. First of all, this is an awesome hardcover book, and this one book right here contains everything you need in order to play this role-playing system of Numenera. So with this book, you get everything the player characters need. You also get everything the game master needs, and you also get the setting too. So this is an entire campaign setting, an entire world. It has all the world building that you need. So you get everything with this book, and it's a pretty hefty book. And so this is the premise right here. There have been 8 previous worlds, and so this is called the 9th world. And so it kind of presents this as the far distant future, or the far distant future. But how I look at it is, you're kind of entering like a dream-like world, like a dream / nightmarish world, where the technology that we have is sort of like the purposes of it, and also its original uses have been kind of warped, forgotten, and distorted, and now kind of like a dream where you're doing things that and using the different normal stuff that you encounter in terms of your everyday life. Now that's all has become oddities, and it's used in odd ways, and just simple technologies like something as simple as, like, for example, like a Roku device. In this setting, we use it as a streaming device to connect to our TV so that we can watch TV programs. But in this setting, you might find that Roku device, and now it's used as an attachment on your armor, and it's actually a stimulant. It's allowing you to get this stimulant that you need in order to boost your strength and stuff. So this uses a premise like that, where it's kind of like, in the beginning, first of all, you have this obelisk kind of thing. So this takes kind of like occultish kinds of stuff and blends it with science, but distorts it into this warped kind of dream / nightmare, where you might go into a place like this and never come out, or you might go in there and the purpose of it, or that environment, there's still weird engines, there's still weird mechanics going on at the base of a tower or underground, but the reason for those mechanisms and stuff has been lost, just kind of like in a dream. And I'll show you more once I take you through the book, so that you understand what I mean. It's got an ethereal quality to it. But before I show you this book, I'm just going to slide this over for a little bit, and I want to show you a book that I think this is actually takes a lot of inspiration from. And if you've ever read this book right here, it's called The Book of the New Sun, Volume 1, Shadow and Claw, by Gene Wolfe. And this has a similar premise, where in this character right here, he's like a torturer, or he starts out as part of this guild that they torture people. But what's strange is the world that these people exist in a time, it's sort of like a cautionary tale, like a nightmare or a dream, where you wake up and you're just glad it leaves you creeped out. And almost like another example I would give is like the Christmas Carol by Alright, sorry about that. I had a little issue I had to resolve. So getting back to this, Charles Dickens' The Christmas Carol, where you have the character of the Scrooge, and he's being haunted by these three spirits that and one of them shows him the future. And it's a future event that if he doesn't change his life, the course of events will play out in such a way that you'll end up with this dark, twisted future as a result of your actions. And that's what this book and Numenera kind of also does, where you're in this weird dream-like nightmare. And this illustration, similar to the Numenera one, is you have they look like ancient cities, but they're mixed with futuristic technology, but it's just mashed together like in a dream or a nightmare, where things, oddities come together that shouldn't, and you have all these incongruent things being squished together. And so this book plays out in a similar way. And so this guy has a purpose in this book, but his purpose for most people in this setting, in this world of the shadow and claw of the new sun, he's a feared warrior, but many people have forgotten his original purpose and why they existed in the first place. But he's continuing to do the work that he's supposed to do. So it's as if the empire has fallen, but they're on the fringes of the empire. they still don't know, if you know what I mean. So this is a cool book. At some point I'll do a full review of it. But getting back to Numenera, it uses a similar type premise. So you have demonic forces that took control of technologies and twisted them, and so now you're trapped in this setting where everything's been warped and stretched and is very weird. And so you have a blending of science, like cyberpunk, and also like stuff like Conan and Lord of the Rings, all blended in here. So let's take a look at this. And what's cool is right away, just the end pages have this awesome map of the world. So what's cool about this Numenera is they give you the setting, the feel that you're trying to achieve by playing this unique role-playing game. And so, I mean, areas are even called the Beyond. And so, almost like a weird dream or nightmare, there are areas where you should just never go. And if you go literally beyond into these other places, you know, your mind itself, you risk your own sanity by doing that. So here you can see kind of like what I'm getting at, where you have this ethereal quality, like a dream. You're seeing through everything through the lens of this weird ethereal dreamlike quality. So even the characters you can be have that quality. Now the artwork in this is awesome because it all fits the theme. And also what's cool is you start off with a story to introduce you to the lore, and also the setting itself. So it takes you through the feel that this entire system's trying to get you to role play as, which is pretty cool. And then it takes you into, it's like you got stuff like this where it's some floating monolith with a weird engine in the middle at the base, and you might have difficulty just getting in there because it's floating, but no one knows how or why it's floating just in the air. And stuff like this too, you just have floating land masses and stuff. And so it's called the Ninth World, but it's as if you fell into a dream. So this uses an interesting system in terms of, first of all, you got this cool artwork in here that's very unique. You get black and white artwork in here. You get, you know, color artwork. You get sketches. But this system uses some different ways to approach. First of all, this artwork is just awesome. Something like this to me really sells this system in this book. You have this awesome warrior princess, it almost looks like, where she's got like this insect type looking armor, and then you can see the technologies. Like this might have been something meant for a smartphone or whatever, and now it's been incorporated into armor, and then maybe it's linked to her actual psyche, but only through these devices. But that's not what those devices were originally meant for, and now that's augmenting her natural talent and skills as a warrior. So that's what this system tries to do. And so in this game, you have stat pools of might, speed, and intellect, and these you use to use effort. It's called using effort. And so you actually use your stat pool. This is your actual life, and so you don't have hit points in this system, and so you don't have to use yours because you're going to pull right from your pool of stats when you're going to do an enhanced type ability, or you really want to make sure you're going to succeed in a role. Then you can use these stats, and they reset at the end of the adventure or when you rest. But during your session, if you're in the middle of, you know, exploring and having to fight and all that stuff, and a day hasn't gone by, then if you're using these stats, then you have to rest in order to get your stat pool back up to what they are at the start of the game. So these reset as you're resting. So it's an interesting way to do it, and it forces you, I think what this does is it forces you to focus on role playing rather than trying to create superhero, stat, focused play. And so you have, I think, only 3 classes, or character types they're called. You have the glaive, which this is, I think, like a glaive, which is like a pathic warrior. And then you have, you have a glaive, and then you have what's called a nano. So a nano is kind of like, think of it as like a spellcaster. However, they're not really casting spells as much as they have the knowledge and intellect to incorporate different technologies and oddities to create spell-like effects. So here's an example right here, another cool piece of artwork of what a nano would be. So it's like a wizard who, they become like a wizard through harnessing these technologies in this dream-like setting. So that's, you literally got a floating gem above his head. So, and here I showed you this illustration on the back of the book. So, and then you got this weird technological thing. But again, this might have been used in a microwave or something. And now it's being turned into something to augment you as a warrior. And then the last character type you can be is called the Jack, which is, it means Jack of all trades for short. So you're more like a rogue. So this would be the combination of the other two, and then you become sort of like a tinkerer, or you can use different mechanisms, not just weird technologies, but also machinery, to incorporate that into your style of fighting or sneaking or progressing as a character. So yeah, again, awesome artwork that really fits the setting. It comes together as a cohesive system, and also style of role playing. It's like here, this goes over the character focus and how you use the focus, and then later how you can use effort and different tiers of effort in order to make sure you accomplish certain things in the game. And then you have these cool line drawings that are very distinctive. And then before wrapping this up, because this is getting a little long-winded here, we're gonna jump. This book has awesome maps. The enemies you fight in a game like this, they're distorted horrors and demons and demonic beings, but then regular people also could be sort of twisted and demonic because they've incorporated different technologies and different kinds of drugs and stuff to create these and they've been distorted by drugs in a weird way. And so this has got an awesome adventures in it in the back, and then you have a bestiary of some monsters and how to approach creating monsters. And again, the monsters are going to be horrors in this. They're going to be things that you can't really explain. Again, think nightmarish beings and stuff, just twisted, warped combinations. This is like some kind of walrus combined with a bear, and then this is some weird horror that it's the stuff of nightmares. So hold on one second, please. Right before I give you my final thoughts, I'm just going to show you at the back of the book. It runs you through a sample style of play, and it gives you examples of what I mean by the cooperative storytelling, where the focus is on the setting is just as much important to the story and how you're role playing as your character is. So the setting itself, you're literally entering this strange world, and so you're not going to act like you would in other role-playing games. You're trying to attempt to make decisions based on not how you would perceive things necessarily. In, for example, in modern times, you're gonna find a can of soda in this game, for example, and you're gonna look at it, instead of as a can of soda, maybe it's an energy drink or some kind of fuel for some weird gadget or oddity that you have, and you're excited about. It says Coca-Cola on it, or it says Red Bull, but you're not using it for that purpose, or even know that that was something that people drank. So if you understand what I'm saying, this is a really cool and unique type of role-playing game where it really wants to force you or push you to stretch your imagination and your storytelling ability. So you're not just trying to create the most powerful character that you can create, and in a lot of ways you really just want to create a character more focused on one that would fit in this setting. So just wanted to show you that this has all kinds of, it has adventures in the back, and it also has the rules for the game master. So you get everything with this book, including an awesome setting that is super unique and has an awesome special feel. It even has, if you've read the book Dune by Frank Herbert, it has that quality where, you know, Dune feels like a strange, nightmarish / dreamlike world where you have these warring factions of like familial like factions warring. So you have Atreides in Dune, and then you have the I forget what the bad guy's name is, but he has his Legion of Sardaukar, and then you got the Fremen, which are like pathic desert warriors, but they also have this dreamlike quality to them, and this uses an approach like that. So my final thoughts is, if you're looking for a very interesting and unique style of role-playing game where you're not focusing on just, oh, I'm going to be a dwarf and I want to wield a battle axe, and you know, I'm picking the dwarf because you know, they're hard to get to die, you know, they're powerful, and I'm gonna have all kinds of hit points and the best armor. And so the focus is not on that. The focus is on, you could play a character like that, but maybe, you know, for example, your axe is actually a component from a machinery that they used to use to make cars, or it's actually was used to build jet engines, I don't know, but now you're using it as an axe, and your character is awesome and strong, but it's because you're using some kind of technology and combined with some other drug or something to give you stimulants and stuff. And so now you have to find those stimulants, but you might also be addicted to them and have drawbacks because of it. So this is a cool setting that takes a unique approach, and you get a lot of value in here, because although this book, I think I picked it up off of Amazon, it's pretty pricey. I think this was around the $50 to $60 range. However, you get this awesome hardcover book with awesome artwork, extremely unique artwork. You also get everything the player needs, you get everything the game master needs, and also you get a complete setting included, and adventures, and a bestiary, and how to build different monsters, because again, the monsters in here are nightmarish, dreamlike horrors. And so you really get to stretch your imagination here, and in a unique system. So using your stat pools to incorporate them into the style of play, and also so that you're focusing on the storytelling aspect with the game master, is a very unique approach, and this does that in a really awesome way. So I definitely would recommend picking this up for anyone who's an aficionado of role-playing games in different systems. And if you're getting kind of burnt out on some of the more mainstream kinds of role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons, and you want to try something that's a little more esoteric, a little bit more dreamlike in its qualities, where you definitely get to stretch your imagination here. So I definitely would recommend this. This is one of my favorite role-playing games to come out. It's a newer one. I want to say this has come out in the last 10 years, and I think it might have originally started as some type of Kickstarter. But with this, you get an awesome way to play role-playing games. And again, Monty Cook, he goes back in the history of Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games for a long time. So I think there are even video games also for the Numenera setting, and novels and stuff that you can get to, and that will also give you the weird dreamlike feel that this is going for. So I hope this video finds you having an amazing day, and we want you to have a blessed day.